ourselves the agony. It's my agony, which is not yours.
We might go through it in very different ways, though.
Different expressions, different reactions, but basically it's agony. Not German agony and Asiatic agony. It's not what is happening, British and Argentine. It's human conflict. Why do we separate ourselves from all this? The British, the Argentine, the Jew, the Arab, the Hindu, the Muslim, you follow? Which all seems so nonsensical, tribal. The worship of a nation is tribalism. So why can't we wipe out all that?
I don't know. You tell me. Why can't we?
Because, again, we'll come back to the question. I identify with my nation because that gives me a certain strength, certain standard, certain status, certain security. When I say I'm a British, oof. So this division is one of the reasons of war. Not only economic, social, and all the rest of it. Nationalism, which is really glorified tribalism, is cause of war. Why can't we wipe that out? Seems so reasonable.
It seems reasonable on a level like nationalism. People don't think they're England.
Start from there.
Okay. But then I have a patient, and he does think that he's married. And
he's
that
American.
And that he's married, and that it's his wife.
Yes.
And that...
Of course he's wife.
Well,
So
isn't
what?
that the same action that you're talking about?
No. So just let's go into it slowly.
Okay.
Why do I want to identify myself with something greater?
Because I'm not
Like
sufficient.
nationalism, like God,
I don't feel sufficient.
which means what?
Insecure.
Insecure,
Anxious.
insufficient,
Yes.
lonely,
Yes.
isolated.
Uh-huh.
I've built a wall around myself.
Yeah.
So all this is making me desperately lonely. And out of that conscious or unconscious loneliness, I identify with God, with nation, with Mussolini, doesn't matter, Hitler, or any religious teacher.
Okay, or I get married, I have a job, I make a place for myself.
Yes.
And that's all also identification.
Yes. Why do we want to identify with something? No, basic question is why do we want roots?
To belong.
To belong. Which is also implied to become.
Yes.
So this whole process of becoming. From childhood, I'm asked to become. From the priest to the bishop, bishop to the cardinal, cardinal to the pope. In the business world it is the same. In the spiritual world it is the same. I am this, but I must become that.
Okay, what I am is
Why
not
this?
sufficient.
Why do we want to become? What is it that's becoming? I don't know. Sorry.
Well, and the obvious reason for wanting to become is a feeling of insufficiency, inadequacy in the state that we are. And one of the reasons for this is that we live in an imperfect world. Our relations with other people are imperfect. We're not content for a variety of reasons with the way we are. So the way out of that seems to be to become something else.
Yeah, so why not? You see, that means escaping from what is.
Yes, but it may seem that what is something we have a need to escape from, because there's something wrong with it.
So why not, all right, take the usual experience. I'm violent. And I have invented non-violence, right? And I'm trying to become that. And I'll take years to become that. In the meantime, I'm violent. So I've never escaped from violence. Just an invention.
Well, you're trying to escape from it. You may escape in the end.
No, I don't want to escape. I want to understand the nature of violence, what's implied in it, whether it's possible to live a life without any sense of violence.
But what you're suggesting is a more effective method of escaping. You're not suggesting an abandoning of the idea of escaping. You're suggesting that the normal way of escaping, trying to become non-violent, is one way of doing it which doesn't work. Whereas if you do another method where you actually look at the violence in a different way, you can become non-violent.
Escaping.
Well, you're changing then.
No, I am violent.
Yes.
I want to see what's the nature of violence, how it arises.
But for what purpose?
To see whether it's possible to be free of it completely.
But isn't that a kind of escape from it? Being free of something.
It's not an escape.
Why not?
Avoidance, running away, fly away from what is an escape. But to say, look, this is what I am, let's look at it. Let's observe what its content is. That's not escape.
Oh, I see. The distinction you're making is that if you run away, an escape in the normal sense is running away from something, like escaping from prison or one's parents or whatever. Yes. But they still remain there. What you're saying is that to escape, rather than escaping from violence, which leaves violence intact and still there, and you try and distance yourself from it, you try to dissolve violence or abolish it.
Yeah, dissolve.
Yes.
Not abolish it, dissolve.
All right. So this is different from escape because you're trying to dissolve the thing rather than run away from it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So running away is everybody runs away.
Well, it usually works to a limited extent.
No, it's like running away from my agony by going to football. I come back home, it's there. I don't want to go to watch football, but I want to see what violence is and see if it is possible to completely be free of it.
If I'm in a very unpleasant society and I can escape from it by defecting or leaving it and going to another one, and this does in fact mean that I escape to some extent. So these are always partial answers and they're partially effective.
But I don't want partially violent or partially free from it. I want to find out if it's possible to be totally ended. That's not an escape, that's putting my teeth into it.
Yes. But you have to believe it's possible in order to put your teeth into it.
I'm going to investigate. I said, for me, I know what one can live without violence. But that may be a freak, that may be a biological freak and so on. But to discuss together, four of us, and see if we could be free of violence completely means not escaping, not suppressing, not transcending.